Hello, 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 everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder, Pat Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. So, how's everyone doing this Sunday afternoon, preparing for the next week's trading? Glad to have some people here. Those are some dedicated people. You gotta work overtime. Gotta put it in. Thanks, GA. If you want to be successful in this business, you got to put in the time. And there's no better time to prepare than, I guess you could get up Monday morning early and get everything prepared. I find it better to do it on a Sunday afternoon, get it all out of the way, and then you're even prepared for the futures open when they open. And you can start watching the Asian session if you want. I do check in on it, and then I'm not caught off guard by anything. I already have my plan in place, and then I reevaluate tomorrow morning. I have the earnings coming up this week up here. Couple things that I'll be watching. Let's see here. Let's see if you got my pointer. Uh, Nothing really tomorrow morning. I'll check in on SAIC, but nothing groundbreaking tomorrow morning. Tuesday, I'll check in on AutoZone just because it had a very aggressive entry. We'll take a look at the chart there after we're done with the indices, because some of the stuff just helps. Even if you don't trade it, it does help. What else am I watching? That's about it, mainly on Tuesday. Wednesday, I'll check in on GameStop. I do check in on Respiration Hardware. Uh, I'll peek at Udemy. Let's see what else. What else? But Thursday, I'm really going to see what Costco does and Oracle does. I'll check on Hormel Foods too, and that's about it. Let's maybe take a look at some of these charts in a bit. Let's take a look at the markets though. Hope everyone had a good week last week and survived. We got the S&P here. Let me change my camera and sort of rotate over. S&P coming down straight to this longer term trend line. It wasn't drawn from this point. It was actually drawn back. We had defining point in here, and the initiating point was all the way back here from 23rd of March, and the defining point is I think it's around the 5th of October. If you don't know what those are, check out our videos on how we draw trend lines. Coming down there, bouncing off it. You can also see, got to update this level too with the little retracements, but we had a cluster there, a projection cluster. This 4492 area was very key. We had that a significant level there, a projection cluster, which we can see from the shorter term chart. Here's our clusters, and those I put on intraday on Friday. So I used the most recent swing going to the positive bar about 11, and that gave me this 44.91 area and then 44.78. So they weren't in the last live stream because I had to do them intraday, but that's how you use those harmonics to help fine tune. So that came in conjunction with a nice significant level, which is already there. It is 44.92, 44.93 area. Nice bounce off of there. You can also see here we had the double, which did trigger. Pullback did not stop it out, going to the first target, going to the second target, whether you use the conservative entries or the conservative targets or the aggressive targets. Either one worked. I was watching the conservative target since it was still trying to do a bottoming pattern. Bullish mode was up at just 45.86, stalling out there for a while, coming up, only peaking above it before just a quick sell-off. What am I keeping an eye on tomorrow? It does look like a decent bottoming area, and we have this 12.5% harmonic from this whole move down, and we have our volume area right around 45.18, so I'm a bit ahead of that, about 45.23 area. So as long as we're above there, I am looking for bullish trades. If we drop below there, then I'm watching Friday's lows. Below Friday's lows, that would not be good. I'm really starting to watch aggressively for a bottoming exhaustion pattern coming in, especially with retesting this level. multiple times, and then the rally end of day Friday. But keep in mind, also with any rally, we're against the daily rotation zone. And what does that mean? It just means I have to be conservative with my targets and aggressive with moving up stops. So for any bullish patterns, I'm being more aggressive. Why? We can still come up here and rotate back down. Same with the 4 hour. You can see here, even on the last up move, on the last couple, this one just got above it, but then this one rotated up, and we watch everything on a closing basis, spiking up above, but closing back down, rotating down, coming back up, hitting the top, spiking through it briefly, but closing down and rotating back down. So one of the early signs that we might have this bottom with confirmation in is if you start getting closed above the 4 hour rotation zone. Now this is going to drop in the overnight session. Right now it is about 45.73. That's going to drop. And the lower that keeps coming down, then is going to get through it. And we have waning momentum. So we have a lower low here between this low on December 21st, on December 1st, not December 21st. I got a little ahead of myself. Between and December 3rd, lower low, higher low RSI. By the way, hello, Christopher. Great to have you here. Hey, Waka Waka. Hey, hey. And again, Jake the Snake, thank you for being here. So I will be keeping an eye on that, especially for some momentum moves tomorrow morning. I have a slight bullish bias right now. In order to get a daily entry, daily entry would need a close still above the high from December 1st. Very aggressive would be a close above the open at 45.8750. I would do personally conservative because it would be out of the way of the rotation zone, and that's only valid for tomorrow. Once tomorrow's done, there is no more conservative entry or even aggressive entry. If we don't close above the open here, again, that would be aggressive. But you could close above the open and still not get above the rotation zone. That's why it is aggressive. The conservative is if we have a major rally and take out and close above the high tomorrow. Let's just check in on the weekly. And you can see here we close within the weekly rotation zone, fairly close to the bottom. So I am keeping an eye on that. It's still, the probabilities were that we touch the bottom, but with this rally back end of day, I'm going to be starting watching for that potential bullish move. And when I say bullish move, right now the models and everything don't necessarily favor new highs. They favor a slight rally, but not new highs as of yet. So one of the key lines in the sand is about this 46, 47, 46.50 area I will be watching on a longer term basis. That's up here at the 62.5% harmonic. You can start getting close above there. Then I will start watching for a return upwards to this 4,700 area, which was very, very severe resistance going into the end of the year. If we sell off, if we start getting weakness, again, if there's news or Europe sells off and everything else, I'm really keying off this Friday low and this harmonic and the significant level below there, 44.7875. Then we have another harmonic and a significant level, 44.65 to about 44.6750. And then below that, and this would not be good if it continued lower, because below that, then we did get this close into this clear path. So rolling back down, then we'd be at 44.37, and then I'm watching downwards to 43.90. So if we break this trend line, especially on a closing basis in the S&P, then I'm keying off of 43.90 possibly by the end of the week, and I'll start watching for another potential bottom down there. So everything based off of Friday's end of day gives me a slight bullish bias. If we start rallying and I get some good entry signals, again, it's aggressively moving up the stops and keeping the targets conservative as long as I can remain with my reward to risk ratio. I really need to close above this daily rotation zone again to at least take it back to neutral mode, and then I can be even more aggressive on the buy side, keeping in mind some of the upwards key areas of resistance, namely above this about 46.20, 46.39 is this little prior. I'm going to bump that up a little. About 46.40, 46.41 is this prior support becoming resistance. And you see we got above it briefly, but then sell off, ran up into it, and then selling off again. So I will watch what happens at that level. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. And the NASDAQ rallied back also a bit on Friday, but it's still weaker. And by the way, here's the bigger pattern. We have the left shoulder, head, right shoulder, close below the neckline, retested neckline, retested it again. And now we have the first cross the rotation zone and rotating down. So up around this level of about 1640, 1635, 1640 is very key. Even if we come back through that neckline, the stop out for this head and shoulders would be on a closing basis above this fail-safe trend line. So this is a properly drawn path trend line, but a close above that would invalidate this pattern then. Right now it's already come down to the first target. And then let's see. The only other thing, let's see, when did I add these? That was on the second. And here's the third. So we had these levels in place. 15, I do so many updates on these charts. 15,678. And then we had this major area, 15,589, and to about the 50% harmonic level on the last run up. So that's these orange lines. So that's the retracements. These are harmonics from the low on the 4th of October up to the high on the 22nd. And you see here, we had the head and shoulders target 15,607. We had a harmonic 15,589, and we had the 50% harmonic retracement at 15,565, 50. So a triple cluster there, and that gave pretty decent longer term support. And then on the short term, you can see here, 15 minutes, how we came down, testing it once, testing it again with a slight lower low, but higher low in the RSI, testing it again, and not closing below this 50% harmonic with another divergence. Great little bottoming pattern. Then you've got the end of day rally. So this is very key level. If you get a close, even on a shorter time frame, especially a 15-minute time frame below about 15,567, then I'm shifting into weak mode on the NASDAQ, and we'll watch for declining price action. Because then that key level from Friday did not hold. Let's see here. Let me get off some of these levels, those reverse harmonics. Let me update the charts here. I'm just looking for some other key areas. Now I'm going to use the end of day Friday. It's not technically a 4-hour pausing bar yet, but unless we open incredibly weak, it probably will be. So I'm seeing where those levels put me. And now on a sell-off, let me see what this other line is. That's really minor. It's right in the middle. I already have a cluster here, so I'm going to remove this level because it essentially lines up with, that was on this prior little resistance shelf. But if you see on lower price action from the head and shoulders, the next target is 15,404. We have 15,423 and 15,384. So we have a major support zone here. So if we do dip down, that's going to be the first key area I watch for support and a reversal. Below that, key line in the sand to me is this 15,267 area, because we closed below that. That's the 62.5% level from this run up, and then I will watch for further weakness down around, on a longer term basis, down around this trend line. But then the full target is 15,201 from the head and shoulders. So on any weakness, that's where I'll be keying off before this potential move to the bottom of the trend line. On the bullish front, you can see here, bullish line in the sand, 16,045. Poke above it, reversal, poke above it, reversal, brief little poke above it, then moving away rapidly, closing right at that level. This is why you got to pay attention to these levels, and then moving back down rapidly. What am I watching for tomorrow? I'm coming roughly, we're just going to, let's see. Because it's little waning momentum, as long as I'm above about 15,720, I'm in bullish mode it's a cautionary bullish mode. Again, because we have the rotation zone on the 4-hour overhead. So any move above here, I will be watching the 4-hour rotation zone, especially when it comes in with 15,805, so 15,800. And then on a continued move up, this is minor, it looks like. Let me see. We got that spike low there. I'm just looking to see what other key areas to watch for. Right there. Right there. So above, if we continue up through the 4-hour rotation zone, the next major area is about 15,985 to 15,600. You can see coming down here, cascading down, poking below it, closing on it. A pretty decent move away, retesting with this key low, bouncing through. Then we had this sell-off bar. This is the kind of stuff you're looking for. Don't focus on the highs and lows. They can be used to confirm levels, but don't use them to generate the levels. So you come down, you see here, key resistance, just poking above it briefly, but get back down, key resistance, and then slamming away from it. That is a good level. So 15,985 to 16,000. Then above there, I'm at 16,176.50. Let's see where that rotation zone is on the daily. And that's going to come down. This is going to come down right in here. So on a closing basis, I'm paying attention for a 16 on a strong rally. I want to close about 16,075 area. But it still gets more back to neutral mode if we start closing above at least Friday's open. A close above Friday's open would be a very aggressive bullish entry. A close above Friday's high would be a conservative bullish entry. It's out of the way of the rotation zone, and then I'd start watching for runs back up, especially towards about the 16,420 area. Let's see. Can you please tell us Melly supporting points? I don't can you type in that question again? I'm not understanding it exactly. I am not understanding what Melly supporting points are. So Dow, here's our Dow. Really nice. We had this path trend line, breaking below it, retest, rejected. You see how it ran up to the daily rotation zone and rejected here, coming back up twice, trying to kiss the trend line goodbye, and running into the daily rotation zone again. So a move above Friday's high takes me into the rotation zone. And then I'm going to be watching upwards of this 35, about 177, 180 level. I have a retracement harmonic there. I have a key significant level there, and just above it is the rotation zone on the daily basis. So 15,177 to about 35,177 to about 35,246 is my key resistance area on a rally. You get a close above there, it's back above the daily rotation zone. It takes it back to neutral mode. I got to modify some of these other levels. And let's just see. Let's just see what we got on the shorter term basis. Taking a look at my levels. I'm going to go with the reverse harmonic here. All right, let's see what we have here. I'm better to just use the standard levels right here. All right, just checking some things out. Again, this is real time, not prepared ahead of time, just looking. So you see here my level might have been slightly low, poking above it, reversing, poking above it, briefly reversing and reversing. So it might have been a little aggressive on Friday, but I'm now going slightly more conservative. I'm doing 34,730 area to get bullish above there. Then I'm watching about this 34,863 area to 34,903, then 35,000. These are my intraday levels. 35,000. Again, we have 35,012. I'll just key off 35,000. Above there, we have the 35,177. 4 hour, it's getting to the bottom where we're out of the way of the rotation zone, so we have waning momentum here. Again, we had a nice little divergence here on the 4 hour. So if I had to pick, if we're bullish tomorrow and the Dow's strong, it's actually been a little stronger on this recovery back. We still are against the daily rotation zone, but we start getting in there. I'm really watching for a run to the other side of it. If we sell off, selling off, let me see. If this does not hold, this level's not really coming in with significance right now. So a sell-off, I'll be watching this this harmonic and the low at the end of the day, right in here, coming in about 34,250. Below that, I'm just targeting 34.50. Then I'm going down to 33.92. Then below that, if we get below 33.92, 33,725, 33,617, and 33,300. That's probably a little aggressive right there. What I'm going to do, never mind, I'm going to bump these down to the most recent swing. Yep, we're going to use the most recent swing. So this is the most recent swing when we started this little sell-off move. So disregard those couple other harmonic levels. So now I'm looking for the downside of about 33,725 to 33,686. Below there, 33,440. That's exactly what we're going to utilize going in with the most recent harmonic swing. On a key closing basis, there's no aggressive buy in here. It's just all intraday price action for me at this point. But again, I'll be watching where we close in relationship if we go up to the top of the rotation zone, and that's not just for tomorrow. Let's see what questions we have. Let's see. I'm seeing lots of double top. My favorites AMD and NVIDIA. Please have a quick look. I'll take a look. Yeah, on the daily. Then you said on the daily. Yep. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Sailing Dream. I really appreciate it, and thanks for that nice comment. I put a lot of time and effort into this and helping people prepare and learn these tools so they can take or apply some stuff that I teach to their own trading, and helps them learn how I do a market run through each and every day. To, not enough people really do that. Let's take a look at AMD. AMD finally getting a close below the daily rotation zone. Remember, coming up here, major divergences, just peaking up, gapping up above the harmonic, then coming back down, holding daily rotation zone, but that was not good. Now, if we get a bottoming thing in the NASDAQ, we'll watch for a quick turn, but this is so overdone. So overdone. Even on a weekly basis, still not reconnected with the weekly rotation zone. So on weakness, I'd be watching here. I don't see a double top on AMD. This, yeah, I guess that is. I just don't like that push up with this big hiccup in there. But you can use those targets. I would then use the conservative targets. Let's see where those go to. Closing below here and triggering this double top. I just don't like this one hitch in there. That's why it didn't jump out to me right away. But the targets are 37, 137, sorry, 133, about 132, I'm sorry, 132.80 something. I'm just go off 133 and 128.72. I just go off about 129. So that's the key for that. And let's see, Nvidia also still. I'm really watching what these do when they reconnect with the rotation zone. Nvidia holding up. I was watching this. See, I had intraday levels on this. Still closing above the rotation zone. I am watching if Nvidia gets a tomorrow or Tuesday, preferably tomorrow, a close above Friday's high. It is an aggressive entry off the daily rotation zone. It's actually a percent B entry, so it's a double entry. That doesn't mean it's higher probability just because two systems trigger at the same time, but that is an aggressive entry. And why is it aggressive? Is because we still haven't connected with the weekly rotation zone. So that means it's keeping a tight stop below last week's low, because if it starts getting down there on a closing basis, then I'm watching for the pullback into the weekly rotation zone. This isn't a double top to me. That doesn't meet my parameters that I've tested out quite exhaustively. So but it is a toppy pattern. It would still be an aggressive buy if it does hold up there. If it breaks below the daily rotation zone, let me take off some of these. You can see how nicely I had these harmonics just on, here's a shorter term basis. Even look at the 1 hour. Dipping below the bottom harmonic, see how it didn't close down below there? On a closing basis, that's exactly the kind of bottoming potential price action I'm watching for. So I will be watching for some intraday strength. However, if we get a close below this daily rotation zone before we trigger a buy signal, I'm watching for the bigger pullback. Bigger pullback area right now is we have the 25% harmonic pullback, and that's from this low on the 8th of March up to the high on the 22nd of November. And that's a very key level for me. A 25% harmonic on this kind of run up with the rising rotation zone, that's very key. If we start closing below that on a weekly closing basis into the rotation zone, then I will start watching for an even bigger pullback. But a great pullback to this rotation zone with a short-term rotation entry upwards is a decent entry. It's not necessarily meaning new highs in this, but I would start watching for price action to get up at least around to the 330 area again. Let's see what else we have. Connor, thank you for being here. GME, GameStop, a break above 175 would be a target to 185 and 195. Well, let's take a look. A break above 175. I'll get to those in a bit, Christopher. I'll put up your I'll take a look at that. Let's see. This is look at these harmonics from GameStop. Look at these harmonics, and you can see exactly where they were from. They were from the low on the 4th of August up to this high. I still had them on because they weren't broken yet, and we didn't rally back up. But look at these harmonics right here. 252.88, boom, right there. Holding key support. Again, we have earnings on the 8th. So that's Wednesday as what we looked at. Holding this little support shelf. I'm just seeing if there's a very aggressive buy could be triggered tomorrow on a close above Friday's high. That's a super aggressive buy though, with short-term targets. So that's where it's very short-term targets. Targets the first major area, if you got above that, because you'd also be above the 4-hour rotation zone, I would be watching this little level right in here on an aggressive buy, or if you have a buy pattern. Let's see. Connor, as a break above 175 would be target 185, then 190. A break above 175, you're watching here. That would be super aggressive for me. Let's see. A break above 175. You have this little resistance shelf above there. Then my targets would be around 178 to 179. Let's just see. This is where you can use the short-term harmonics to help. This would be a reverse harmonic area. So yeah, it's sitting there right at that 179 area. So that would be an aggressive first target for me. And then above there, you got about this 184 area. And then my key target would be this 192.20 if it rallied strong. Those are all my targets. Now, if we get a close below about 169, that's a closing on a closing basis below the support shelf. Then I'm looking for a bigger pullback, especially to retest the lows around 160, and then below there, well, this is where I'd use the harmonics again on the most recent swing. See, then we got about 147.50, which is this key low right in here. So that's my levels to the downside. So that's my upside and downside. Anything the upside right now is very aggressive. So as I said, even in just looking at this stock, it would be using conservative targets and moving up the stop aggressively. Because even if it gets up to this 192 area, it's just reconnected. We're getting some separation in the rotation zone, and it could roll over again there. Also, that was resistance here. It was tempted to be support, but then it blew through that level, so I would not ignore that level. Let's see, what else do we have? Can we look at SoFi? Let me get the stocks out of the way first. SoFi. When we closed, again, this was just a gap open below, but we closed below the 62.5. So I start watching for the bigger pullbacks. I've put that in the Discord room many times. I've mentioned that on the streams also. When I get a close, you see this run up from the lows on the 17th of August up to these highs on the 11th. Let me move this out of the way. Key levels I talk about were the 50, which was right also at this key low. Closing below that, then I'll start targeting the 62.5, which you've got the gap below it. See, closing above it, gap below it, but closing above it until the 30th of November. The close below it, then I target the next level down, this 1633, and then I target, if we get a move below that, then we're down to this 1492 area with we had 87.5% harmonic there and a significant level there. Bouncing off there. If you break below that, my next level is 1356 to 1377. Don't want to see anything. Let's just see where. And then the harmonic is about 1337. If I'd actually watch, this could be a major support zone if it continues to sell off in SoFi. But if you get a close below 1337, I'm watching for 1211. Now, on a bounce perspective, let's just take a look at the shorter term charts. We have this little sideways ledge. A very aggressive would be a intraday play above about 1540. Above 1540, I'd be targeting about 1622 to 1633 with the declining 4-hour rotation zone. So that would be an aggressive play with potentially exhaustion and that little sideways shelf. But that's an aggressive play. That's not necessarily a long-term bottom. In order to help get a long-term bottom, you need a close within the next couple days above, not a long-term bottom, an intermediate-term bottom would be a close above the high from Friday in the next couple days, but it would be aggressively moving up stop based off the rotation zone. So as it started reconnecting with the daily, let's see where the 4-hour is, the daily and or the other side, the top of the 4-hour rotation zone, those would be areas to take something potentially off and aggressively move up the stops. All right, let me jump back around to AVAX at the end, Jake, if you don't mind. Let's see. Let's see what we have. We can we look your URA and Starbucks. Uranium. we're getting the biggest. Look at this. I didn't update my retracements yet, but look at those harmonics. Look at that harmonic cluster. Look at that thing of beauty. How many people had 3144 to 3159 being a potential topping area, and then this is, don't ignore them. Bigger sell off back. Don't ignore the harmonics. Let me move some of these levels out of the way with this bigger pullback. Uranium. You actually get, oh boy, it would be a super aggressive entry on a close above Friday's high. Close above Friday's high would definitely mean a stop move up, though. If that was quick, I'd be moving up my stop aggressively at about 26.20. Let's see, at 26.20. Yeah, it would have to be, and I'd need a close at least above the 4-hour rotation zone. So if we, on a shorter term basis, on an aggressive entry, that's actually for the next couple days that holds. What I would like to see is this 4-hour rotation zone get out of the way and then a close above Friday's high, and then that would be a more conservative entry. And then I target the other side of the daily rotation zone, holding above there. If we held above there, then I'd be watching for a run back to about the 28, which is the key 25% harmonic from this run up. But it's still, anything on the bullish side is aggressive, very, very aggressive on uranium, their uranium ETF. It does not have, it's running out of momentum to the downside. But there's not a great bottoming pattern. This is a very aggressive, and that's a very aggressive, what I call a percent B entry. If it breaks down through the lows here, 23.34 would be minor, but major then would be about 22.43 to 22.62 with the rising 200. This would be the area if it does break lower, and I'd love to actually just, I'm going to put an alert right down here, because I'd love to see it come down here, and we got the 200, we got 62.5% harmonic, which is key for me, and that 2243 projection harmonic. I'd love to find a bottoming pattern in this area. So that would be my key area for uranium. If that, again, a close above Friday's high tomorrow or Tuesday is a super aggressive long. I prefer, though, a conservative entry in this. Starbucks is just a choppy mess to me. Let's take a look at the bigger picture. Just looking, Starbucks is just a mess. Close back below about 109.25. If it closes back below 109.25, let's see. Let me see. I'm looking. Not a Head and Shoulders. No, this was a shoulder, head, little shoulder here that already triggered. It's really, I mean, that would have triggered back here. That's why I wasn't. It's almost like it's being forced. It was right here. It probably came down to the first target. Let me turn off my magnet. Actually, let me anchor this point. And then, sorry for the dog barking. I can't control when you got 5 of them, we can't control it all the time. Wish I could. But, let's see. Double. Yeah, I already finished. Look at that. Look at that. There was the Head and Shoulders. I haven't been watching Starbucks, but this is the close below the neckline. Then you put the projections from the head back to where it closes below the neckline, but you project it from the neckline, not from the close. All right. Here was your first level, which reinforced a significant level already there. Coming back up, and then coming back down to the 104.31. Those targets are completely done. So yeah, it was. but now it's back into a big choppy mess. I couldn't get in bullish mode unless we got a close above about 116.78, 117 area. That would put me in bullish mode. Right now, it's just in this little area. Short-term basis, if it rotates back down, below this 108.45, yeah, then we got some nice levels. If we go 108.45, cluster at 107.30 area, and then below that 106.19, which is, look at that, right just above this key close, below 106.19, 104.02, and then I'm still working with the harmonics before. Let's see what this other level is garbage now. It's not. So I'd go off 101.23 and 98.45. But right now it's sitting in this overall consolidation level besides this earnings gap down and this brief little run up. It's back just chopping back and forth in here. So I need my first, I set up here bullish mode. If I start getting a close above about 114, I possibly, if there's a decent entry above there, be making a run up to this 1678. Definitely move up and stop at 1678. And then if it got a close above there, I then watch for about this 120. But that would be very aggressive from right now. I don't have any other entries in there for Starbucks. Let's see what else we have. XPEV. All right, coming back down 43.36, dipping below it, but we also have this little shelf right here. Prior resistance becoming support with the harmonic, closing above it. You start breaking below, let's just see here. Start breaking below about this, yeah, you got this little shelf. See how it never closed below the harmonic? You get a close below this 43.36, watch for even more pullback in XPEV, which then I'd be watching down to about this 41.90 to 42. Below there, then you're into this area, and the next major support isn't back down to about 38.35 with the 200. So if it continues to be weak, 41.90 is key. You start getting close below there, you're into this. It's nearly it's a modification on an advanced clear path, but the 200. If you're looking for a shorter term bullish play above about 44.81, you get a key close above there. You're into this little sideways shelf that's broken out to the upside. You're above the 1 hour rotation zone. And then I'd be starting to target this 46.84 area, 46.85 with the declining 1 hour rotation zone, and 46.85, let's see. And that's this all their little, you had a little support shelf in here, 46.50. So about 46.50 to 46.85 would be the first bullish move to take partial profits and definitely move up a stop. And then I'd start watching the 4 hour rotation zone, this $48 mark. And yeah, 48 would be the next key level. It's in neutral mode that could be shifting to bearish mode on the daily unless it can regain a close above about 48.50. Also, a close above Friday's high would be an aggressive bullish entry. Let's see. You're welcome, Christopher. Yeah, and that's why you have to trade. That's why, we'll take into account stuff like that and when earnings is, but you can have great results and stuff can, again, sell off below, closing below the daily rotation zone. Start watching for a bigger pullback. And it came back to the bottom of the weekly rotation zone. Okay. So this would be a real key area. I mean, if it could get that rotation up and above close in the next couple days above Friday's high, it would be an aggressive bullish entry. So it could be an aggressive bullish re-entry to retest, especially. Let me take off a couple of these levels. If we got above this $50 mark, I would definitely be watching this little shelf right here. You see this little shelf? 51.11 is going to be very key. I need a daily close above that to remain in bullish mode after it hit that, because it could easily come back up here. So on an aggressive entry, that's an area I'm definitely, this first area, this 50, I'd at least be raising a stop. This 51.11 area or 51, I'd be taking something off and raising a stop again in case it rolled over there. And then if it made a run above there, I'd be watching for about 54 bucks. Oliver, looks like Tesla to 1500 tomorrow. All right. I don't think Tesla's going to hit 1500 tomorrow. Tesla might have put in a short-term bottom. One thing I was going to touch on with Tesla that I missed on Friday, we have a little, this qualifies just barely as a 1 hour potential double bottom. You'd need a close above 1032.71, and then I'd be watching, which would then have the targets of 1045.74, 1052, about 1052, and then 1058.71 with the significant level. Would not ignore that. That would be into the 1 hour rotation zone. So that is an aggressive entry on Tesla, running out of momentum at the end of Friday. So again, we could gap up above this level, then I'd be watching for that level to hold and a rotation back up, and that would even trigger the potential. Right now it's a potential. It has to trade above this one, this 1032.71 to confirm, and I need a close above there or open above there, or retest that level and a rotation back up to trigger the trade. But that's the bullish trade, but it's not the 1500 tomorrow. Sorry. 1500 I don't think was even, I mean, you have to chew through a lot of this upside to get to 1500. So that might be a long-term play for you, but it was not tomorrow. And again, Tesla holding the 50-period exponential. So this is a really major line in the sand. You don't want to see a close below this if you're bullish only on Tesla. Let's see what else. Hey, Dave. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Thanks for joining. What else was I looking at? We'll get to AVAX in a bit. I also talked about Costco for earnings. Costco coming off the key harmonic and coming back down, gapping below the daily rotation zone, but closing above it. So this is very key. Friday's low is very key. Again, earnings coming in this week. Why I'm saying it's also key is it's just come down to barely touching the weekly rotate, not barely, just missing touching and holding up. And you can see how we've, had this hook over after we had 559.08. I don't even remember what the high was, 560.78, turning back down. So just keep an eye on Costco if we start breaking below about 512, because then especially if you can start getting daily closes below there, I'm watching for the bigger pullback, especially if it's sell the earnings. Even if the earnings are good, we've had a lot of companies get sold because either forward guidance is lower, inflation fears are lower, or they slightly miss. So I'm keeping an eye on Costco right now. A super aggressive entry, though, would be a close tomorrow above Friday's high, which it did not close. I mean, above, not Friday's high, above Thursday's high. I need a close above there, and that's super aggressive because of how overextended it is without even returning to the weekly rotation zone. I mentioned Oracle. Oracle's broke down from this sloppy topping pattern. Watch this 87.12. This is a great area since I don't have a key pausing bar yet, using a reverse harmonic. Then I'm really watching if this can even drop down to this 84 area, 84.20, right in front of the rising 200 and that harmonic cluster. I'm going to keep a strong eye on Oracle. It's entering oversold right now. That's why I'm going to be watching earnings on Oracle. What else do we have? Anything else before I get to... I'll take a look at the AVAX. Do I have that bookmarked yet? Probably not. because I don't. Where's my crypto? There it is. I haven't looked at this since whenever you asked for it. Who was that again? I'm sorry, Jake. That's right, Jake the Snake. I'm coming in to help. You're still here, Jake. All right, we had this double top. I haven't looked at this. It's not a crypto I follow. Double top, coming down, hitting all the targets right there. So that was a pretty decent play. By the way, this was not a double bottom. Why? I'll just review for newer people. Because this is the move that started it, not this because of this big rotation in here. This is the move that started, and it's a reversal pattern, but you see just the first target falls in there. The second and third do not. That was not a double bottom. Let's see. This looks like this looks like just eyeballing it without doing all my measurements. This looks like a potential double bottom. Yeah. Yeah, all right, yeah, 1 hour double bottom looks freakishly similar to Tesla's potential 1 hour double bottom. They look somewhat similar. What's nice about this, I watched this on a 4 hour because then you're out of the way of the 4 hour rotation zone. This 1 hour is very slow. I'd be watching this for a key 4 hour close above this high. A key 4 hour close above 96.29. Because then if that happens, by that time that happens, unless it does it in one bar tomorrow, the 4 hour rotation zone will be out of the way. You're reversing this big move. This isn't enough of a rotation, so you're reversing this whole move, but your targets are about 104.50, 108.30 area, and then you can put these on your charts, and then 112. If you wanted to do a conservative target, since it is, let's see, since it is going against the first cross of rotation zone, you want to do conservative targets, I'd be doing about 103, 106.50 area, and then 110. I'm going to leave it up with those conservative targets. By the way, if it breaks down below Thursday's low without triggering that double, you got your harmonics lower. I'm just seeing where they line up. So this 71.56, just below this support shelf, just above here. So that could be on a spike, but I'd watch it in relation to that on a closing basis. You got to close below there, 63.12, which is right in line with this prior little support wedge. So that's your upside and downside for AVAX. You know what's nice is, do you see how often we get to do the same techniques and they work across multiple markets? We don't have to tailor something. Sorry, I got out of my camera. I tend to lean. You see how we do the same thing and we can master one set of sort of analysis techniques, where some people say you need something different for crypto, you need something different for futures, you need something different for stocks. Oh, and then this kind of stock and that kind of stock and this kind of stock, and they're trying to tailor all their analysis to a specific market. It's easier to have one set of tools that work across multiple markets. Then you can master those set of tools. Kalani, how do you, Kalani, Hawaii. Did I say that right, Kalani? I don't want to mispronounce it. I'm terrible with pronouncing it. I'm terrible with names, and I'm terrible with pronouncing things. I really am. It's a weakness of mine. Probably because my first language was Canadian. By the way, that's a joke. I am Canadian, but I'm dual citizenship. But my first native tongue is Canadian, or Canuck. So that's why I can't pronounce anything. It was very educational in the Discord. We went through a lot of stuff in the Discord. We don't just cover Tesla. We cover a lot of markets. People post up with all the gap plays. Some people are really getting good at these gap plays with the levels and how to do it. If you're interested in that, it's worth the $10 just to join, because you'll be able to reference the stuff. Kalani, Hawaii. Got it. Hardy har. No way, you ozer. Let's play some Beer Hunter. Bob and Doug McKenzie. So that's AVAX. Anything else anybody wants me to look at? I think I got through everything. I think I didn't miss anything. I hope, and again, I hope people are learning to master this stuff. I'm just going through the past comments to make sure I didn't miss anything. There you go. All right. Thank you, Jake. Kai says best $10 ever. You know what? It wasn't meant. It's the price of these days. It's the price of lunch. And it's for well, it's forever until I decide to close it down. But even if I left it all the way up for a month, have you learned more for your $10 than Kalani? Have you learned $10 worth of stuff in the Discord? And if you haven't, I'll refund your $10 if you say honestly that you have not learned more than $10 worth of knowledge. NVIDIA, didn't I already do that? Yeah, I thought I did this. Again, NVIDIA just holding the daily rotation zone. Aggressive, I did this. You might want to go back and watch the replay, but there's a very aggressive entry on a close above Friday's high. Why is it aggressive? It's just holding the daily rotation zone. Why it's aggressive is it's not yet reconnected with the weekly rotation zone. So why I'm saying it's aggressive. This could come up and top out. So on an aggressive entry like that, it's moving up stops aggressively and still paying attention to this 339 level, then the most recent high. And then if it ekes that out, still pay attention to 355 to 359. And you want to then keep a stop below Friday's low on any aggressive entry because we have, again, not connected with the weekly rotation zone. So on a sell-off below Friday's low, your key area is this 288.77 area with the weekly rotation zone. A close in there, then I'm watching for the bigger pullback. So there's your little recap, Dave. But if you want the fuller analysis, go back and watch the replay, and don't show up late next time. And Kalani says he spent more on my morning coffee. So there you go. It's worth at least a coffee. My Discord server is worth at least the price of a coffee, and it stays with you longer. Dave, I just set up my chart this AM. Only a few days of lower price action don't coincide. Thanks for the confirmation, Mike. You're welcome. All right, I'm not seeing anything else. I've gone on nearly an hour, and I would like to unwind Sunday night. I'm going to check on the futures on where they open and how they start behaving. Since we do have a potential bottom, I'm going to be paying close attention to them. In the Asian, I will set my alarm to watch the European Open and glance at that, and then fine-tune my game plan for tomorrow. Everybody, have a great rest of your Sunday. Thank you for spending some time and working with me and learning. And thanks for the questions. Thanks for the stocks. And have a great rest of your day. I'll see everybody in Discord, and good trading tomorrow. Bye for now.